I'm here with Christine Andrews, who is a very dear fellow dancer here in the Pittsburgh community. She is a beautiful artist who does belly dance and Rajasthania Kalbeliya dance, and is also involved with a couple other dance projects here in the community. I'm really excited to be talking with Christine today, and she's going to be introducing an online dance classes being offered next week by her mentor and dancer in Kalbeliya from Rajasthan, India. So welcome, Christine.
Hi, thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, I'm so happy that we can, reconnect. It's been a while that I've seen you. And you're still performing Kalbeliya?
I am. It's something that it's sort of, when I'm asked to do it, but I also just like doing it. And so I also just bring elements of it into my dancing, sometimes into my belly dancing as well.
And what is it?
It's a dance form. So the Kalbeliya people from Rajasthan are the snake charmer caste from Rajasthan. Sometimes you see like the man with in a cartoon with the flute and hypnotizing the cobra. Well, it's actually real life, and so the men in this group often, not always, but some of them will do this type of work to make a living, and they're also the people that will, if you have problems with snakes, or if you have a snake bite, or say a snake comes into your village or into your house, they would be the person that you would call, like someone in that group would come and take the snake away. But for them, the snakes are sacred animals and they revere them. On the other side, the women, many women now, especially that it's become more popular, are dancers. And some of the men are also musicians as well, and dancers too.
Rajasthan there's a part of it that's like desert area.
Oh, absolutely.
So there's a gypsy culture, actually. Traditionally, gypsy culture started in Rajasthan. At least the gypsy dancers, we say, originated from India into Punjab and then up north all the way to Europe. I mean, very generally speaking.
Yeah.
So Kalbeliya does it have that gypsy feel to it?
So,
it's a folk dance, right?
Yeah, for sure. It's a folk dance, and traditionally the Kalbeliya people are nomadic traditionally. So yeah, they have that within their group, although many of them are becoming, a little more settled now, and some of them have homes even. Many of them still live in tents, and, definitely more of like a lower caste and just sort of like on the outskirts of society. So in a similar way that Romani people in Europe are. I believe, and I need to do a little more research on this, and I still have so much to learn about this culture, and I love it so much, but it's deep, and it's old. It's been around for a long time, and for me, there's also a language barrier. I don't speak Hindi or Mewari, or, I don't have all the language that I could have that would probably help me understand better. I get what I can, and I'm always interested in learning more.
How did you get involved in it?
Around the mid-1990s, I was fully into my belly dancing, and I still am to a large extent. It's been a passion of mine for over 30 years. But around the mid-1990s, I saw a film by Tony Gatliff called Lacho Drum, and this film, I think maybe you were referring to it with some of the things. So this film, what it does is it traces the Romani Trail, or what many people understand is like what people call is like the Gypsy Trail. Although like that term is actually something that people are wanting to use less and less. As certain Romani people, find it derogatory. And from what I understand, I think the word gypsy came because a lot of people thought that the gypsies or the Romani people came from Egypt, which some of may have migrated through that route. But most people at this point believe that Romani Trail originated in northwestern India and Rajasthan area, and across Asia, and then it split. So there's two major splits. So there's the Romani Trail, which goes up through, up and around and through Europe, and ending in Spain, and then there's also a Dormari trail that goes down through North Africa. So what I love seeing within that is like all the different connections, and you can see, you know, there's connections in language and music and in the dance and, you know, in culture in general. So now with genealogy tests, they've been able to look into that a little bit further. From what I understand, actually, the Kalbeliya, I don't think are technically related to the Romani. I don't think. And this, again, like these are conversations that I've had with various people, but from the genealogy, it looks like the Romani are actually more related to the Rajput, which is another caste, like the warrior caste of Rajasthan. I don't know, though. I'm not actually sure about that. I need to do a little more research myself.
So you got inspired after watching La Chodram?
Yes. I went off on there. Thank you for reeling me back.
No, this was good. We needed some history.
Anyway, yeah, so this movie was amazing. And so Tony Gatliff is Romani himself, and so he went and did a documentary-style film and started in northwestern India and then traveled all the way through Europe and then to Spain and sort of documented it with just music and dance in each of those places. There was not really any kind of dialogue. It was more just filming little clips of music and dance. And I fell in love with the movie, and I also especially fell in love with the very first dancer in that movie, who just so happened to be a Kalbeliya dancer. And this being the mid-1990s, there was no internet. And, you know, I was watching it on a bootlegged VHS tape, you know, so like those little bits of dancing that you could find in various places, like beat up VHS tapes were like, that was like gold, you know. Those were the things that I just ate up as a dancer, and I just loved it so much. And that and Aisha Ali's field recordings from North Africa too were like a huge inspiration to me. She's a Egyptian woman, Egyptian belly dancer, who she lives in LA, but she did like a ton of work in the 70s and 80s, traveling all over North Africa, recording dance and music and incredible footage. So anyway, yeah, so back to Kalbeliya. I first went there myself looking for this dance. I was at the time working for Culture Shop in the South Side, and he was now my husband, then was my friend. He kept telling me, you know, my friend George, oh, you should come with me to India, you know, and check it out. Oh. And I showed him this video of these women in the Kalbeliya dancer, and he's like, oh, I know people who do this dance. I've seen this dance, you know, which was, for me, it was like, it blew my mind because, again, like this just wasn't something that was well known. It was not something that you just didn't see it really. And so he was traveling to India for his business, and so he said, you know, come on along, I'll show you the ropes, and then you can go off and have your time, you know. And I kept putting him off, and finally I said, okay, let's go, let's do it. So we went, and we ended up falling in love. The 2 weeks that he said he was going to like help me not get in trouble and figure out and get my travel feet on ended up turning into 2 months, and we traveled around to a bunch of different countries, and I kind of had my mind blown because it was the first time I was out of the country ever, and so my first time out of the country was straight to India, which was awesome. But I knew how important it was to have a good instructor, so I really wanted to find a really good teacher there. So I kept asking around, and just, you know, I danced with various people, and they were lovely and wonderful, but I just really wanted to search for like a master of the form. And so I kept asking around, like, who should I study with? And the same name kept coming up over and over again, and it was my teacher's name, and her name is Gulabi Sapera, and a lot of people know her as Gulabo in India and in other parts of the world as well. She's internationally famous, although it's still sort of a niche subject, but within that realm. And even like across India, really, she's well known. She's been on TV shows, and she's been in Bollywood movies, and she was given the Padma Shri Award, which is like a national award for doing good for society, you know, and so it was a real honor for her within her caste and being a woman as well. So that was a couple years ago. So she's an amazing lady. So I just feel really lucky. So that was 99 when I met her, and I got to spend some time studying with her. She took me on as her student, and then I lived with her for a little bit, and I traveled with her on a couple of occasions, and yeah, it's amazing, and I feel really, really fortunate that I got to study with her. And she is the first person to bring this dance form into the public, and she was chastised for it to begin with. For her group, her cast, they didn't really perform that dance in public or on stage. It was more of like something that was done for special occasions, just within the group and the community. And she was really the first one to bring it out into the public, and they were not happy with her. But she just kept going because she just had this calling, and she's a true artist, a true dancer, and a beautiful dancer. And so she just kept going at it and persevering. And I think after she started getting international gigs, like she was brought to the United States by the Smithsonian, like all these different prestigious events. And I think after a while they saw, okay, maybe it's okay if she goes and dances. So it was less of a thing. And
that's what happened.
Yeah, now she's definitely revered in her group, and she's considered someone that people come to for advice, and just, someone that is like an elder and just someone within the community who's done so much for the community.
Well, I've seen you dance, Kalbeliya, beautifully.
Oh.
And you just exude this happiness. It's such a lively dance. Although the movements are a little controlled, but then you do like all these twirls and everything. Just seeing you perform is such a gift. And you stayed in India while you were learning. Okay.
Yeah. My first trip to India. No, it took me 2 months to find her. But thank you so much for those compliments. I'm honored coming from you because I feel the same way about you. You're a beautiful dancer. I absolutely love watching you. And you're absolutely captivating and just so lovely.
Thank you so much. My parents are from Punjab, and they have Bhangra folk dance. The Rajasthani folk, it's different. But that feeling, I don't know, I still feel like...
They're pretty close. They're pretty
feeling.
Close. They're like next to each other in the States.
Yeah, basically. So, yeah. My brother-in-law is Rajasthani, Marwadi. We have friends who are... To me, it's like to see someone born and raised here, American, go to India and stay there in the desert and learn is like, whoa, That's amazing.
It was an amazing experience. I mean, I still have to pinch myself when I think of it. I still remember very clearly the very first time my first lesson with my teacher, and I just had chills the entire time, and I just felt like the luckiest person in the world. I love dance so much in so many different forms, and especially folk dances from all around the world I just particularly love. But this one really resonates with me. It just feels so natural to me, and I think it relates to belly dance in sort of a way, but it's very much its own thing. Something about it just really spoke to me, and I think also just having such a wonderful teacher made all the difference for me too.
Well, we were talking earlier, and you were saying that you see both belly dance and classical Indian in Kalbeliya.
Yeah, even Gulabi, my teacher, she'll refer to that as well, that because she really shaped the face of this dance so much. I mean, it definitely has some traditional gestures in it, but she definitely drew inspiration from Kathak and some of the other classical forms.
Did you grow up doing belly dance?
So I started belly dancing when I was 16, and I'm 47 now. So yeah, over 30 years. So you can kind of say I've grown up. I mean, it's been most of 3/4 of my life or something almost. I mean, it's been a long time.
And you dance with your sisters.
I do.
Well known in the Pittsburgh area.
I was in a group called Zafira, which was Olivia Kissel and Maria Hammer, my sister, and myself. And Tamara Nelson was also a part of that. And then she ended up moving to California, but when she was here, she was a part of that group too. And then my other sister, Jen Castelli, also was a part of that at one point too. That was Zafira, but I guess by the time it whittled down to right before we all kind of went our separate ways, it was the three of us, Olivia, Maria, and I.
What style of belly dance do you do?
it's a little bit hard to describe. I mean, I guess you know about belly dance, so I guess I could probably describe it to you. But I guess I'm trying to think of like as like a more of like a open perspective on someone who would listen to this who doesn't know anything about belly dance. You have like what a lot of people refer to as American cabaret dance, which is what I think most people sort of imagine when they think of a belly dancer, which is usually more of like a sparkly bra or a beaded bra or maybe with coins, and then like a chiffon-y kind of skirt, you know, that has slits on the sides and, you know, just sort of the quintessential, you know, what would be on like a velvet painting or something.
Right.
In a Middle Eastern restaurant, you know, like that, like holding a tambourine or something. Right? I know, I'm painting it a little cheesy, I'm sorry. No, there's a beautiful American cabaret dancers, really, like incredible. Yeah. And so, I mean, what I do is a little bit what I would call maybe a little more folkloric belly dance. Some of it comes down to stylistic differences in costume and gestures and just that kind of thing, really. I think, you know, essentially it's all belly dance. A lot of it just comes down to nuance and style and costume and that kind of thing. So what I do, I would label it as basically folkloric belly dance, but it's not based. I mean, it's definitely an American creation, though. Like it's and it's something I guess somewhat uniquely ours. I mean, I've studied with a variety of American belly dancers, but my very first belly dance teacher, who I took a ton from, and I still do a ton of what I learned from her, was someone who learned in Turkey. So she had Turkish, like old Turkish Oriental dance, not the Romani, not that style, because there's Turkish Roman as well, which is like again related to that Romani trail, but not that, but Turkish Oriental style, which is closer to Egyptian, but just again a little stylistically different.
Have you seen any similarities between belly dance, maybe gestures, and Kalbeliya gestures?
I think one of the biggest differences that I see between those two forms is the hand gestures. In belly dance, you would almost never see your fingers apart. So most of the time it would be like, you know, hands together and fingers mostly, not completely glued together, but mostly together, and that kind of movement. Well, you'll see some movements like that in Kalbeliya dance, but you'll also see a lot of this kind of open-fingered, you know, a little bit closer, you know, to like a classical Indian gesture. So, you know, even like almost identical in some cases. Although I haven't studied classical Indian dance yet myself. I've taken a couple of workshops here and there, but I feel like it's a life commitment. So I've been a little afraid to step into that because I feel like it would just encompass my world.
Belly dance is its own classical style of dance.
I mean, I think most people would classify it as a folk dance as well.
Folk dance, okay.
Yeah. Because it's a dance of the people. Like you think of it, I mean, for belly dance in its natural habitat in the Middle East and North Africa, it's like something that or even in Greece, you know, they're gonna go out and dance it at the weddings. It's not like, you know, here we have the chicken dance, and there, you know, like in Greece, you might have the shiftatelli that comes on, and everyone comes and, hey, we're gonna all belly dance, even though, you know, they might not be professional belly dancers. Probably most of them aren't, but it's a folk dance. It's just a social dance, and it's something that they do.
Are there similarities with the costuming? I've seen you in Kalbeliya where you wear like so much jewelry. It's so beautiful, and it's like hanging off of you.
I like
thinking, like, how is she twirling so fast with all of that on?
Lots of bobby pins. Lots and lots of bobby pins. So I like jewelry a lot. And so yeah, I like that. And I guess that's probably the most similar element to belly dance as far as the costuming, because I also do the same thing in belly dance where I tend to I'll gob on a lot of like jewelry on my hair or, you know, just in general. But other than that, they're fairly different costumes. The Kalbeliya stuff, I try to, you know, when I do it, I try to keep it pretty as traditional as I can. So I usually have like a full skirt and a choli and then a little vest, like all from Rajasthan. And then I decorate it up with mirrors and belts and little tassels and different things. So
your teacher is teaching classes next week?
no, this is I'm actually over the moon excited about this project that I'm in, and so I'm glad that you brought it up. So yes, my teacher is beginning her first online classes starting this Monday. But it's not just her teaching, and it's not just one day a week. What it is a system that 3 women from different parts of the world came together, and they organized this idea, which is called Kalbeliya World. And essentially, it's a platform for online live dance classes from Rajasthan. So 7 days a week, 10 different teachers. So obviously we're India's on the other side of the world, and if they're going to be live, the timing is a little tricky. So my teacher will be teaching 11 a.m. on Monday, which I know is tricky for people who work, and we're open to hearing suggestions if we need to adjust the time on things. But there'll be other dancers available at other times during the week as well. So I'll be Kalbeliya, and so this organization, Kalbeliya World, the idea is supporting these women, especially in this time when they don't have a means to make money otherwise. Generally, it's a great idea, but especially right now, it's actually really needed for them because, they survive a lot with gigs and, just like a lot of artists here. Also with tourists not being able to come, all of those things, it's difficult for them to survive, really. So this is going to allow them a livelihood and, ways to feed themselves and feed their families. I'm just so happy to be a part of it at all. So I was basically asked by my teacher to help her through the process. So every teacher has a person who's helping them with the tech and kind of getting them up and running. And so I'm my teacher's helper, essentially.
So it's going to be all Rajasthani,
yes.
all Kalbeliya,
yes.
7 days a week.
Yes.
Oh my God.
I know. I'm like,
so awesome.
So we just got done with a week-long rehearsal that went on, because everybody took turns doing their rehearsals. So I got a chance to I didn't unfortunately get to take all of the classes because I'm also busy with being a mom and also trying to get our shop back up and figure out how the heck are we going to have it open and be safe and keep our employees safe and all that good stuff. Juggling multiple things, and that's kind of my whole life. But but I'm just so thrilled and honored to be a part of this. So, and not only are they doing that part of it, they're also taking donations just for people, for solidarity and just to help people out and for their livelihoods and such. So not just the dancers, but to the extended community.
What a rare opportunity for those of us who don't live in India.
It's incredible. It's really incredible. And the dance is so fun. Even if you've never taken, if you're a belly dancer, I think you could really relate to it. Or if you've ever taken a belly dance class, it's definitely got some fun hip work and spins and but beautiful hand movements and that kind of thing. And it's just, it's got a great energy to it. And the people who are teaching are so excited and so honored and happy to be a part of it as well. And you can just tell that they're so grateful that this is happening. And I'm so grateful this is happening and that I'm in any way a part of it. It's also allowed me to touch base with other people who love this dance form and culture all over the world. So basically, I've met, within this platform, we have all these different, what we're calling buddies. So I'm a buddy of my teacher, and we have all these buddies from all over the world. There's a woman from Mexico, and there's a woman from Belgium, and there's a woman from France, and there's a woman from Japan, and there's Mexico, Brazil, Chile, all over the world. And we're all on this platform together. And we're all dancing. We were, this past week we spent the week dancing together at all these rehearsal dances. I think I got messaged a week and a half ago. So it came together really fast, and everybody just dove in and put so much energy into it because I think just because we all really believe in it, and it feels so much the right thing to do, especially right now. I just feel so helpless. I just kept thinking about man, like, it's one thing here people are dealing with, and I know there's hardship, and I know many people in the States are having major hardship, but the perspective in India, like, I know the poor people in India are like poor that's hard to imagine here unless you've been there, right. And so my heart was just wrenching thinking about that. So now that I'm able to, like, even just do this little bit, I'm just so happy and so honored to be able to do that and to be able to help out in any way. So if you don't want to dance, which I can't imagine that you wouldn't want to, but if you don't want to dance, there's also an opportunity you can just donate to this organization, and it's called Kalbeliya World. And, again, you have the link, I think, for the dance classes and just for the donations. And so, if you just feel like you won't want to give to the organization. But it's amazing because it's like this world organization that just popped up because of these people who love it. And it's, we're not taking any profits for this. Everybody who's doing it is just volunteering their time. And because we love it and we love the dance and we love these people. So this organization that is organized, it's like came about with women and run by all women, supporting women in India. That just really feels amazing to me as well. It's not like I don't love men too, but there's a time and a place for all of that. And women have definitely gotten the short end of the stick. It's good that we can support our sisters around the world.
So all the profits from the classes are going towards this organization?
The way that it works out is you get to choose how much you want to donate to the solidarity part, to like the greater community. And then the dance classes themselves are a fixed price, and I think they're really reasonable. I think they're actually in rupees. And all the class times are actually in Indian Standard Time too, because there's so many people they're dealing with, like, all over the world, that they felt like that would be the easiest thing. It's just to list the classes in Indian Standard Time. So you have to convert it. Like I say, my teacher is 11 a.m. on Monday, Eastern Standard Time. And I think there's a fair number of teachers who are going to be teaching right around that same time. And then the flip side of that, most of the other classes probably would be either like earlier in the morning or maybe late at night, like 11 o'clock at night. Because, again, it's the other side of the world. So, and they're trying to make these classes available to as many people around the world at the same time as possible.
Love your teacher. It's nice that she's involved in this. I mean, it's her community too.
Absolutely. I know for a fact that she's been working directly with like people who, like grocers and various people who get food, and like sending it out to the community and feeding people in need. And so she's doing grassroots stuff like that already, just herself. So this is definitely like an extension of that. But for her too, I mean, this is like how she eats and how she feeds her family. No matter what you have going, if there's nothing coming in, you got a leaky roof, and eventually it's going to fall through, right? So
definitely.
She's always been extremely supportive of her community. Like she never has charged other Kalbeliya girls to teach dance. Like that was always something she has always had various Kalbeliya girls that she's taught, and just taught for free just to get it going.
Has she ever come to Pittsburgh?
No, I am. It's funny you should say that, because I am dying to have her here. This has been over 20 years that I've been studying with her, and this is like a dream of mine to have her here. It literally is something I think about every day, and I've thought about, I think, every day since the day I met her, is that I really want to bring her here. And so I could come up with a million excuses why I haven't done it. 5 years after I met her, I got married and had a child. Or 4 years, I got married and had a child, and got pregnant and had a child. So there was that was a pretty big, I don't want to call it distraction, because it definitely wasn't any of that, but it distracted me from that goal. Anyway, it's still something that I hope I can do sometime, and I'd love, if anybody out there is listening to this and wants to see her here too, I would be very interested in talking with you. Feel free to contact me. I'm happy to talk about it. And it feels a little daunting to me because I would love not only just to bring her, but I would love to bring other dancers and like a full troupe, basically, and like live musicians, and just make it proper. Because I thought about just bringing her, and for a while she didn't want to come because she doesn't like to dance to recorded music, which I can relate to. So she really prefers to dance to live music. And for a long time it was like, well, I can come, but I need to bring 20 people. And I was like, oh, I don't know how to do this. That feels crazy, and so then over time she was willing to come on her own, but I still have this idea that I really want. It just feels right to have the whole thing because that's what she wanted as well. And it to give the full experience, you really need the live music, and you need it's in its form, it really is more of a communal dance. It's more of a dance with groups of women rather than solo. I mean, Gulabi definitely solos, and she's a beautiful solo dancer, but it feels right having more dancers involved too. She's been to the States, though. She has been to the States. Yeah. She was at the Smithsonian. I think she was really young then, like maybe a teenager even. She was also I guess about 10 years ago or so, she was in New York and also I think in Houston. And I believe that was within the Rajasthani Medical Association may have brought her for their annual conference back then. Well, I can't imagine being someone in the audience there getting to witness this and something you've just so raw, something so authentic that you've just never even seen, just something. Yeah, that's what, for me, the first time I saw it, I was just like, what is this? I've never seen anything quite like it. And it was instant love for me.
Well, thank you so much, Christine.
Oh my gosh, thank you. This has been amazing.
Thank you. We need to dance again in an event.
Oh, I would love it.
And have a great night.
Thank you so much. It's so wonderful to see you, and it was so wonderful to talk with you. And thank you so much for interviewing me and talking about all of this good stuff.
Hopefully we'll brainstorm in the future. Something.
I love it. I'm so there with you. I feel like I'm ready to form a committee. Hey, bye. So good to see you. Love you.
Thank you. Bye.